I'm really happy with how my base is coming together, but it is missing one thing in particular. Of course, you guessed it, a giant floating rock. Now this rock isn't gonna have any sort of support like our balloon house up here, it's just gonna be floating there. I don't know the hows and the whys, all I know is I want to build a big old rock that's defying the laws of gravity. The question I've now got to answer is where? Where am I going to build said giant rock? I would of course like to have it within render distance of my base, so I can, see it when I'm here. One of my favorite ways to view a build in Minecraft is how we're looking at my base, way back there, the furthest building back. You can just about see it in the render distance, so much so it almost looks like an outline of it. You can't really make out the specific blocks. That looks super cool and will be perfect for today's build. A good spot to come whenever I'm picking a location for a build to go in my base is the top of my lookout point here. I've got a 360-degree panorama view of my entire surroundings, give or take a couple of sections that is kind of blocked by a mountain. But I'm actually thinking we're going to build it this side of the mountains, specifically somewhere over here on this green patch of land. So first things first, we got to build the podium that our monolith is going to be rising from. And I probably should have said the monolith is the big rock. That's the type of big rock we're building here. Not just one pulled out of the ground, one that looks like it's been shaped into something. This is going to look so cool when it's all done. Can you see what I mean with the fog effect? You can just about make it off in the distance, but imagine it going up and 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 probably stopping about there. It's a pretty big build. Now the only thing is, there's currently no easy way to get to it unless I just fly directly across, but I don't really like doing that too much with my builds. I instead like to incorporate them into the world properly by building pathways or some other official way to actually get to a building. It is going to be a long pathway. I am far away from anything else I've built in this world. But I'm thinking we can go along this valley and then start over here by my doghouse. Speaking of which, how are you guys doing in here? Clarence and Clayton? They seem very happy. Okay, I think this right here should be a good stopping point. I'm not too sure what I want to do with the base of the monolith just yet, so I'll leave the pathway here for now. But we've got a long walkway wrapping around down and up the mountain, starting just behind the doghouse there. You know what this pathway probably is missing though? Some small monoliths leading up to the big one. There we go, that's pretty cool. Got some monoliths to look at on the way to the big one. It's gonna look so cool when it's done. I'm excited. Okay, something else I think this pathway might need is trees. The trouble is, if I do trees, I'm gonna have to do trees kind of everywhere. Okay, how on earth do I have 0 saplings? Like none. Well, I have saplings, you can see I've got saplings, but I've got no birch and oak, which is kind of what I need. They're like 2 of the main tree types, and I've got none. Never mind, I figured out why. Remember when I planted this entire forest? Yeah, I think all the saplings are now grown up into trees. Guess I gotta go to the source. So I chopped some trees, picked up some baby trees, and then planted said baby trees. Only in this one section though. Just so I can test it essentially and make sure I like the look of it, and I can hopefully envision what it would look like covering pretty much most of the grass you can see here. I would hate to have to do all of that just to chop it down afterwards if I don't like it. So this is why we test things. And look, we've already made a start. So while these trees are growing, we're actually going to build yet another way to access the monolith. This one's going to be a little bit better than just a pathway. That's right, a giant bridge. Was it necessary to build this? Absolutely not. But does it look cool? I'd say so. And don't ask me why, but for some reason I've made this completely solid. You could say this is a big waste of blocks, or you could say it makes it just that bit more realistic. Now the bridge placement on this end is pretty good. It of course leads just directly to the base of the monolith, but on this side it kind of just goes directly into a wall. Now obviously the placement isn't great here, we can't really link this up to anywhere else in my base. So instead, we're just gonna go through the mountain. Starting off by building a lovely entranceway to the tunnel that I've now got to dig all the way out until I reach the other side of the mountain. It's a pretty long tunnel. Then of course we've got to decorate it a little bit, not going above and beyond here, just adding in some structural integrity and basically leaving the majority of the tunnel the natural terrain. One, because I think it looks good, and two, because it saves me a lot of time. But now over here on the other side of the mountain, we're just left with an open tunnel, and I'm not really sure what to build here, to be honest. Because it's not super ugly, nor super obvious, it's just over here really. I'm thinking I might leave it for a little bit. I'll fix it at some point today, don't worry, just not right now. Realistically, I'll probably just do something like like I've got over this side of the tunnel, just a regular old entranceway. It's just that side requires a bit more terraforming and I want to do something else. Like tackle our tree predicament. Do we want them or do we not? Nowadays in Minecraft, there's kind of two ways you need to look at a build. From above and down here on the ground. And I gotta say, I'm a big fan of how the trees look down here on the ground level. If I'm not flying and just walking around on the ground here, I'm always gonna pick trees. But from above, I'm not so sure really. I think it's a bit trickier looking from this point of view because you can see the entire area and more so the fact that it's not at all finished. I almost need to plant the entire forest and see if I like the look of it then. And if not, just chop it down afterwards. So that's what I'm gonna do and just kind of hope I like the look of it. And if not, well, oh boy, do I feel bad for this axe. It is gonna have some work to do. Let's just look at it this way. If I don't like it and I need to chop down the forest, well, that is a bunch of free wood that I didn't have beforehand. So let's just do it. Of course, no surprises, I love it down here on the pathway. And to some surprise, I guess, it looks pretty good from in the air too. Not that I can see that well, but I like having the slight bit of tree showing from on the bridge up here too. So yeah, axe, it is your lucky day. You do not need to chop all of these trees down. I would now say the surrounding area is looking pretty fit for a monolith, which honestly is half of the build sometimes. The surrounding area is important. If we just built a monolith all the way up there on our platform and did none of the other stuff, I don't think it would have looked as good. I think I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. We haven't even built it at all yet. So how about we construct a giant floating rock in the sky? This is exactly what I was hoping for. How unbelievably awesome is that? I don't mean to toot my own horn, but this genuinely may be the coolest thing I've ever built in Minecraft. I love it. I love it so much. And it's literally just a big rock. That's it. There's nothing really to it. It's just something about this whole build that feels so epic. So I should probably explain that the idea with this, if it isn't obvious, and I'm hoping it is based on how I built it, is that this rock has totally broken away and shattered at the base and is now, for whatever reason, just floating up into the sky, breaking all laws of physics. It's just rising. The main bulk of the monolith here is made out of some natural blocks, starting with moss at the bottom and gradienting our way up to stone at the very top. This is, of course, just to kind of show the age of it and that it's been totally overgrown. You may also notice we have that other block, which is actually white terracotta, although I'm pretending it's something else entirely, something that's very resistant to aging and cracking, and it just stays very pristine. I almost want to describe it as marble-like, although I don't think marble does that exactly in real life, but you get the idea. That has stayed pretty much exactly as it was when it was first built. And I gotta say, I absolutely love the contrast of those two elements. The clean, pristine white block shooting up through the middle and wrapping around the top, next to the very obviously aged and old and falling apart natural blocks that have been used. I've also done something kind of cool at the base here where it's snapped apart. For whatever reason, I decided to make it really realistic, and if this were to just sink back down, it would slot directly into place. So like all of these blocks, this block right here, that bit, that mossy cobble would slot directly in, and then the block next to the mossy cobble would fall into place here. So on and so forth for all of these blocks. I do think it made the building a little bit easier for this part, mainly because it is hard to build something like this that looks as though, well, a giant rock has snapped in half. So making sure everything lines up perfectly, it just does a pretty good job at having a convincing look, if you know what I mean. For instance, if I tried to do all of this freehand, it just would have looked off a little bit, I think. So, time well spent. Now, originally when I built this, I didn't actually have any of the iron bars here. It was just kind of open all the way through, but I tried the bars and I liked it, and now it kind of looks like a prison of some kind. And I've decided I'm gonna roll with that, so I need to trap something inside of here. I don't really have a specific mob in mind, so I'm instead just gonna see if I can get some mobs to actually spawn inside the cells ready. If I just take some scaffolding here and go all the way up to world height, once it eventually gets to nighttime, stuff should only be able to spawn in the monolith, because I think I'm too high for everything else around me, so hopefully that works how I'm assuming it does. We'll find out. Now we wait. I'd say that is officially nighttime. The stars are twinkling, the moon is out, and the sun is gone. Let's see what's down here. We got a zombie. Okay, we got 2 zombies. That's actually pretty good. Not too many. I don't think they know how scaffolding works. You just want to come over this way, and then we are going to give you both a name tag so you stick around, and I need just one of you to come with me. Perfect. Stay there. Okay, amazing. We did it. Right, let's break that block. Hop over here. Do need to do some repair work, though. Ow. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, they followed me down here. So did he. You know what? We don't need both. One is fine. I'll shoot the guy with the scaffolding. How did I miss? Let's try that again. There we go. Only he remains now. Well, we have got our prisoner, so I'd say that means the monolith is now complete. I was hoping for more than just one zombie, but maybe it works better this way. The single prisoner for this great big rock. I feel kind of bad for him, honestly. Almost forgot. I need to take this thing down. Very nice. The build here is very nearly complete. There's just a few finishing touches really that I need to take care of. Starting by bringing the pathway around to all sides of the monolith base, as well as adding a little bit of greenery around here. Then making a slightly better transition from tunnel to bridge, sorting out the other side of the tunnel so it looks a bit more presentable. And then adding a minecart track going all the way through the tunnel, across the bridge, and onto the doorstep of the monolith. I don't think a minecart track was exactly needed here, but it does make it look a little bit better, I would say, having this track, and also the grand reveal at the end of the tunnel is that bit better now. But with the track now finished, I would say this little building project, which isn't so little, is now officially complete. There is just one very final thing that we need to do before we can say goodbye, and that is, of course, an obligatory look with shaders on. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye for now.